Welcome to another episode of the Ink and Impact podcast. And today I am so excited to introduce you to Kristy Horine, who is a member of my Christian Authors in Action program and is just such a joy to be around. I know you're going to love her. We're just going to have a great conversation today. You're going to learn all about her writing. She is a journalist and a ghostwriter and has a few different writing projects in the iron right now. And so I just want to let her do a much better introduction and just tell us, Kristy, a little bit about what you're writing. Just welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you. I am so glad to be here. I'm excited to be talking to you. The only thing that could be better is if we were right in person
Right?
with our cups of tea or coffee or whatever.
Agree.
So,
I think we'll make that
yes,
happen one day.
Lord willing, that would be fabulous. Just don't expect me to run on a beach with you. I'll walk on a beach, but my
For
running
any of
days
you
are
who are
over.
new to the podcast, I sometimes talk about in social media and on the podcast about my on and off again jogging experience. So that's what she's referring to.
Yes, I used to be a distance runner. Now I just write for long distances.
I
That's
love it.
Yes, that's what I'm good. I am in it for the long haul. As long as the Lord gives me strength and words and the ability to put them together in a way that makes sense. Which leads me to the current writing project. So I just came off of 3 months of an intense writing project. It was a ghostwriting work for hire. You've prayed me through that. I've been so thankful for that. And so it was seriously 3 intense months. And so I am still in that in between season, I guess is what I would say. An archaic word, it's from Old English, is betwixt.
Yes.
And it has nothing to do with the candy bar, although I could treat myself once I figure out what exactly I'm going to be doing next. But it's that in between. It's neither one thing nor the other, but I still don't want to lose that momentum of the writing. I just realized that once I finished that massive project, 63,000 words, 3 months, research, writing, turning it in, that's a lot
Yes.
to do and be a mom and be a wife and be a friend and things like that. So it's one of those seasons where I'm still catching my breath, catching up, learning how to rest and make wise decisions for my next project. So I'm going to do something a little different for October. And because October is my birthday month, I love October. We are full of fall here. We finally got some rain in Kentucky. And I am going to, God willing, write a poem a day in October, but not just any poetry. It's called a cinquain, and it is 5 lines. You count the syllables, it's only 22 syllables. So the first line has 2 syllables, the second line has four, the third line has two or six, the fourth line has 8 syllables, and the last line has two. So it's like a diamond with the bottom kind of
Like a
small.
Christmas tree.
Like a Christmas tree, exactly, right? So this form of poetry was created by Adelaide Crapesy in 1911, and it's the American version of a tanka or a haiku, not a spiritual Zen-like thing, not that, just a different form of poetry. And the reason why I love poetry is because of Ephesians 2:10, which says, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." And that word workmanship in the Greek is poema.
That's
It's
right.
where we get our word poem. We are, if we are obedient, God's walking poetry. And that's what I want to do. I want to live and tell that sort of thing. And that's what I want to write to. And I figure since I'm in that betwixt period of my life, then it should be pretty easy to just do 22 syllables a day. And then with those 22 syllables, I would like to make one post a week every Thursday. And that is, I actually did the math. I'm not a math person, but I did the math. So that one post every Thursday would be 35 lines, 154 syllables, not 154 words, but 154 syllables. That's a doable thing. That's an attainable goal. It's one of those SMART goals that everybody keeps talking about.
Yes.
I like to be smart. So anyway, that's what I hope to have as my current writing project for the month of October. And that is so that I will keep going forward, so that it might springboard into a book of poetry. That's on my one day list. I would love to compile a bunch of poems. And it also will help me to continue with my website, which I'm still learning how to use. I feel so old, but you have to learn about blocks and templates and pages and editors and all the stuff that's technical. But I can't learn it all at once, just like you can't write a poem all at once. You just have to write one word,
That's right.
syllable by syllable.
That's right. Oh,
So,
there's so much that I could circle back on and follow up with. But first things first, I just love that you are writing poetry. I think that's such an overlooked form of writing in today's society. And you're only the second person on the podcast that I've ever had that of people who've written poetry. And I just love the creativity of it, but it's so focused too. And it doesn't necessarily come naturally or easily to everyone, but that's one of the gifts that God has given you. And He is such a creative God, like He created everything in the world. And so I just love that you are bringing Him to bear in your writing, in poetry, and in prose, because you do both. And I also thought what you said was very encouraging for authors, because so often we don't know what to post about. We're told we're supposed to be on social and we're supposed to do this and we're supposed to do that. And what are we going to do? And we're coming up with lead magnets and all that. And it is very easy to get overwhelmed. And it is very easy to just feel as though we're old. But what are those? Fear is fear. And then there's our excuses because we
right.
don't want to necessarily do something, or maybe we don't feel equipped, or whatever it might be. But we can do one thing, as you mentioned. And when we tap into our creativity, when we invite Holy Spirit to reveal to us what He wants us to do, it then becomes a bit easier. And
Yeah.
you radiate joy when you're talking about that. And so I think that is just so fabulous. And like I said, I hope that is encouraging our listener today who's tuning in and might be on the struggle bus right now,
Yes.
which ebbs and flows, right? Because sometimes we're on that mountaintop and everything's going great. And then we blink and, oh no, here's this challenge or whatever. Oh, I have to deal with the website this week. But I encourage us to not necessarily look at them as challenges, but look at them as opportunities to grow and to learn. And
Yes.
we don't need the whole package. We don't need the whole enchilada, the whole 6-page website at once. The homepage alone, or even just a landing page for our book project or our freebie, is enough to start, right?
Yes.
The important thing is to be able to point people to a place where they can connect with us. Hopefully that's building an email list at some point. But anyway, that's a long tangent, but I just wanted to circle back because you shared so much gold there. The poetry challenge that you're doing is it just for yourself, or are you opening that up to others?
It's just for me. If anybody wants to join me,
Okay.
they can go to my website. I have a contact form on the website. Just put your information and
yeah. And I will put the link to the website and everything in the show notes. Make sure you follow up on that if that's something that you'd like to do with Kristy.
yeah,
So
it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I have actually encouraged fiction writers at conferences, and I have taught poetry in those specific forms at Christian writers conferences because it's good for writers of long form to be able to put things into short form. We have to do that with our back cover blurbs and our taglines and all of the things. Yes, bios, that's right. So it's not the kitchen sink bio that Jane Friedman talks about. It's that little, that short 45 word or less bio. So we have to learn how to get to the what's important
Yes,
about
be
that.
concise.
So
Yes.
yeah, no,
That
it's
little
very good.
elevator pitch of when people ask you, what do you do? And you say, I'm a writer of, and then you can say it
Yes,
very quickly. Yeah, which we
yes,
work on in Christian Authors in Action.
which I
Um,
love.
yeah,
Yes.
you. So I love the projects that you've been working on, and you share a little bit about those. So, how have you seen God at work in your writing journey over these last few years?
I have seen him draw me closer to him through spotlighting others. So even though I'm the writer, he has taken that focus off of me necessarily and put it on the people about whom I'm writing. I am a journalist. I wanted to be an English teacher. And then I realized, no, that's probably not the best thing. When I had to walk through a metal detector to get to my classroom, I was like, I just want to read words and write words and then teach other people how to do that without being scared and or more scared than normal, I guess I should say. And I did this pivot in college my junior year from being an English teacher to being a journalist. And I loved it. Started at a small paper. I had two city beats. I had a column. I did news stories and features and get to write about normal people doing extraordinary things in a way that wasn't flashy. It was just normal and it felt good and it was easily emulated. And so that's where I cut my teeth in journalism and I loved it. And then got married and had kids and did the whole adult thing, did some other jobs in between, and the writing never totally went away. It was that thing that was saying in the back of your heart saying, I have a place here and don't forget your calling. And I know that sounds like metaphysical and woo. I am not that person, but it just wouldn't let me go. And I think it's because the Lord had this plan. And sometimes it takes us a while to see this plan. And I'm still seeing the plan. I have not yet arrived. Trust me. But I'm going toward the end place, I hope, in a way that honors him. So, all that being said, back in 2015, I am not a political person, right? But I am a Christian. And I was deeply entrenched in the Kentucky writing scene. I went to conferences. I was at public readings. I went to classes. I was encouraging people and just really rubbing elbows. I had fantastic writing opportunities. I was published in magazines and newspapers, and people were contacting me for me to write for them. And I did. And then 2015 happened and gay marriage was legalized. And Kim Davis, who was a county clerk, and this county clerk said, I will not sign these marriage licenses. And it was a huge deal in Kentucky. On social media, I posted, I'm praying for Kim Davis. And I was. But I was also praying for all these other people. There was a huge piling on at that point from all the people that I thought were my writer friends. And they ripped me to shreds. I lost friends who I thought were my friends. I lost jobs. I was losing revenue because I said, I'm praying for Kim Davis. We should pray for the people who are courageous. I don't agree with everything that she was saying, but I do agree with a Bible based worldview because how can I be a Christian and not do that? So that was a turning point for me. And I thought, what am I going to do? I had been the executive director of writers' conferences, pulling in these poet laureates and bestsellers and then it was like I lost my community. So the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference had been held since 1997 in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And in 2016, I said, I really, I've lost my community in the world. Maybe I can do this. So I talked to my husband. He said, absolutely, you should do this. I registered, and the day came. He, we pulled up to the church in Elizabethtown, and I said, I can't get out of the car. I can't go into this conference. He's like, of course you can. And I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, I can't. I've been writing in the world for so long. I don't know that I will be accepted here. I've been a Christian since I was, what, 6, 7 years old? Why would I feel that way? And my husband was, he didn't quite push me out of the car, but he was like, we drove 2 hours. Get out of the car. And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying not to cry, and I'm walking into the church, and I go in there and I tell them who I am, and we can't find my name tag. They didn't make a name tag for me. And I'm like, see, that was it. I'm not supposed to be here. And I just wanted to turn around and run back out. But just like Gideon threshing wheat in a wine press,
Yes.
it was like God was like, oh, mighty writer. He saw something that he had been growing in me that I didn't even know. And so with the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference, it really truly changed things. And I was like, I haven't lost a community. I just moved. I didn't lose all the writing things that God had given me. He just moved me from this camp into a new and different camp. And sometimes it takes that to get you going. So I'm still a journalist. I still write for newspapers and magazines and wherever I can write. I'll be published in Guideposts in All God's Creatures. That's so exciting. 2027, it's coming up. And so he just didn't let me go. When I didn't think I was going to be able to move forward, God, did not let me go. And he sent me so many encouraging things. Now I'm a member of the executive board after being on the planning committee for Kentucky Christian Writers Conference for years. I love it. I love the people. I love that we help others. And then through those connections, it was like God was restoring the things that I felt had been lost. And I love restoration.
Don't
I
we all?
love, yeah, I love redemption. I love that Christ redeemed me when I could not redeem myself. And the word redeem, it means to make useful again. And I couldn't believe that they accepted me there.
So,
I don't really understand that. I don't know if that was, you talk about imposter syndrome though.
and one thing that came to my mind as you were sharing that powerful story, and maybe the listener can identify with that, but it seemed to me that you were feeling shame,
Could be, yeah.
possibly a little bit, but also you had just been ostracized from a former group. And so there was a trust issue. But
Yes.
but that's the enemy to prevent us from moving into what God has called us to. And the church is where we should feel welcomed and embraced. And yet we hold back thinking, oh no, my past experience excludes me. No, God welcomes us with open arms. Jesus is saying, come to me.
Yes.
Right? Sit at my feet. Take on
Yes.
my yoke. I have much better plans for you. And I love all that he has done through you. You just, like I said at the beginning, you exude joy. But it's not your personal joy, it's the joy of Christ
Yes.
in you. Right?
Yes. Absolutely.
And I just want people to hear that maybe you don't have the writing experience that Kristy had before she had this experience, but God will use you and your writing at whatever stage of the writing process you're at. If this is going to be your very first book or your very first blog post or whatever it is that you have felt called to write at this
Mhm.
season in your life, don't feel less than. Don't
Mhm.
allow imposter syndrome to stop you from stepping forward in faith and obedience to what God has called you to do.
Yes.
Because as you did that hard thing, you needed that loving push from your husband,
Get
right?
out of the car.
Not the physical push, but the mental push that you needed. We all need that sometimes, right? That's why God places us in community, right? And that's what
Yes.
I love about Christian Authors in Action. Like, we are there to support each other in the good times and the bad. We pray together, we learn about each other's lives, we suffer together, we celebrate together. But I just can't imagine doing the writing life without my group of people, right?
Yes.
It's life-giving. It really is. Yeah, I love that. With your writing, how do you hope to impact your readers, Kristy?
That's a good question. So I have a tagline, and I actually talk about community. I was like, I don't even know what I write. I don't know how to define what I write because as a journalist, it's easy to say, I write for this newspaper.
Sure.
So I had to have someone come alongside and say, okay, let me read some of your stuff. Oh, this is what you do. This is what I see that you do. Like we know we have heads on our bodies, but we can't see the heads on our bodies, but someone else can. And they can tell you that your hair looks beautiful or that you have spinach in your teeth or you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
your ink is smudged on your forehead. So we need people to do that. So I had someone come along, she read what I had written and she said, oh, it's all heartfelt stories. And that's a nebulous thing, but it's true. I want to carve initials on your heart, but not my initials. You have to know where to find me. You have to know it's KristyHorine.com. You have to know where to find me. But it's not my initials that I want to carve on your heart. It's Jesus Christ's initials that I want to carve in your heart. And so my tagline is crafting heartfelt stories with eternal connections.
Love it.
And it's beyond me. It's one of those things where I could see a story in journalism or in poetry or in whatever writing that I'm doing. I see it and the outline kind of just falls into place in my head. Does that make sense? I know that makes sense because you're a personal biographer. That's
Yes,
what you do.
yes.
You can hear someone's story and you can say, oh, this is the important part. This goes here. This is the other important part. This goes here. And you fit them together so that in the end, you're going, this is a logical sequence of events or of theme or of emotion. And so I guess I'm not really answering your question, am I?
No, you did with that tagline
Well,
about how you want
yeah,
to impact your
yeah,
readers.
yeah. That's what I want them to do. I want them to go, oh, I didn't see God in this,
Mhm.
but now I do.
Because he's always in it.
He is. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. I believe, and I believe that scripture teaches us God is omnipresent. He's everywhere.
Mhm.
And he has something for us to learn to get to know him better so that we can glorify him better. In the end, what is the chief end of man? To
Glorify God.
glorify God and
Yeah.
enjoy him forever.
Yes.
And I want to do that. And I don't want to wait until heaven to do that. I
Yeah.
want to do it now so that I'm good and practiced up so that when I get to heaven at the end of my life, I can be like, God, I've been learning about you because you have shown me. And if someone can see the work of God, the work of Jesus Christ in redemption and restoration and atonement, all those wonderful theological words that mean in eternity, and the work of the Spirit, then I'm preparing you for heaven through these funny little stories of something my kid said or this something in nature or something. like
Because,
that.
and you don't have a seminary degree, am I
Oh,
correct?
no.
So I
Right.
don't either. We
Yeah.
don't, that is not a requirement for us to be Christian writers, simply to point others to Christ in the writing that we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's easier when you know that you're not alone. So I guess that kind of segues us to Christian authors in action. I remember the first time I heard your podcast, you interviewed Greg Bridgman,
Yes.
who was the director of the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference for, I guess it was 3 years. And you interviewed him, it was a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, one more podcast. So I listened to it. And then I couldn't stop listening to you because I thought, she's the real deal. You were interviewing some people, you were giving us all of these steps to take during this writing process. And I love listening to podcasts. And so that's how I get hooked, was because of your obedience. And I listened to what the Lord had to say through you. And I'm thankful that you were a great mouthpiece for him. And then earlier this year, you talked about the boot camp, the Christian Authors in Action boot camp, right?
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up for this. And I did, and it was a lot of information. It was wonderful. We had worksheets. I love being able to fill out worksheets and check boxes and do all that stuff. And then you had an offer, join the group. And even though I'm part of other groups, I'm part of Kentucky Christian Writers Conference, obviously, and I'm a member of American Christian Fiction Writers, ACFW. I thought, I like this. I liked the people who were on the screen, and I liked that they were normal people like me. And I liked that we talked about writing things, and I liked that you brought in scripture because I love his word. My word will never be like his word. Never, ever. I don't ever want someone to go, oh, Kristy's word is like his word. No, his word is higher, obviously, way holy. And, but you used his word to encourage writers, and you used biblical principles to encourage writers and to give us that path that we can walk on. And I was like, I think it was day 2 or day 3 that I know, I think it was day 2 because it was a 5-day boot camp, right?
It was.
Yes. And I think it was day 2. And I said, I'm going to invest in this because it is an investment. We invest money, we invest time, we invest energy, emotion, all the things. But what month was that? Is that
That was
April?
in,
Early May. Okay. So right before I started this massive project for this summer, I am so thankful that I did that. So thankful that I was already a part of you all, because I really felt beat up by this writing project and you all prayed me through it. And now in this betwixt time, like you kind of have to change your voice and make it all deep
I
and
was going to say, you're trying to get that British accent too.
absolutely in this betwixt time, then I know, then I now have time to go back and listen again, and it's deeper and more meaningful, and it was good the first time, but I have those resources
Yeah.
that you poured into, and I can look on that screen and I can be like, I remember when I first saw Dawn, or I first saw Sally or Suzette, and now I know their names, and now I know what their prayer requests are, and I have them on sticky notes around my computer. And every time I see them, I'm like, I need to pray for Dawn because she has this speaking proposal, or I need to pray for Suzette because she's working on her website, just like I'm working on my website. And Sally has these friends who, this man has cancer from Agent Orange, and like all of these connections, it's just like the heartfelt stories that I write. We're we're just meshed together, and I want to make it count for something. And you help us to do that. And we hold each other accountable to do that. And I'm so thankful. Psalm 90:12 says, "So teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." Our days are not going to be forever on this earth, but the things that we do can count for eternity, one way or the other. They will count for eternity.
And that is the most meaningful legacy that we can leave, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing those kind words. I just love having you and everyone who is part of the group in there. It's always open to additional members, but it's not anything that I'm doing myself. It's all God. God has brought each of the people to the group. And I know that He will bring more in His time, and however many that is, I don't know. But it is such a sweet time of fellowship. It's a productive time at the Inkwell. That's our Wednesday virtual writing sessions where we meet for 2 hours at a time. And that's just so productive. And then because it has become clear to me, God has revealed to me over the last year, especially, that it's not enough for us to just write the manuscript. It's not just enough for us to publish the book, buy the ISBN, have it on Amazon. We have to actually continually market our books to reach those readers that He has foreordained for us to reach out to and serve with our writing, whether it is helping them with to do something, to think differently, or if it's to entertain them, whatever the case may be. We just need to make sure that we are doing what we need to do, one step at a time.
Yes.
Not everything, but one step at a time to just do what we can to get our books in front of others. And so at the Christian Authors in Action, every month we have a theme for our marketing activities that month. There's a master class, there's a training, we have a live Q&A. And then at the end of the month, there's the lab where we bring what we've created and get feedback from each other. And I think personally, that's like my favorite part, is to get eyes on what we're creating, because we can think it's the worst thing ever. And other people are like, this is great. Or vice versa. We can think this is perfect. And everyone's like, I still have questions. I don't quite understand that. We speak in love, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not belittling anyone, but we share helpful, constructive criticism, right?
Yes.
And I think that's what we need, because so often as writers, we're isolated, whether that's intentional or not. But we can just learn and grow so much as writers and as Christians together. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the other things, we're all at different places.
Yes.
Some have been writing for years and some have not been writing for years and years. We're in different places in the writing. We're in different places in terms of theme and, oh, what's the word that I'm looking for? Who is it that's writing about art? Holly? Yes. And so we have someone writing about Nicodemus and someone writing about art and so many different things.
Yes.
And we're also different in terms of where we live.
Yes.
We have north and south and east and west. And it's just it's just a beautiful mosaic of writers.
It really is. And not everybody is always writing a book. Like some of us have finished a manuscript. Now we're working on the marketing copy, or the newsletter for that week, or the blog post for that week or month. So if you're listening to this and this sounds interesting, don't feel that you aren't qualified to join if you're not actually working on the manuscript, or if you're already a published author. This is for all of us at every stage.
Yes.
And for those of you interested in joining the Christian Authors in Action program, I will have the link in the show notes for that, because Kristy and I would love to welcome you.
Yes.
Everyone in the group will. So there's that. But I know, Kristy, that everyone here has fallen in love with you from everything that you've shared, and they want to follow along with you. I know I'm going to put the link in the show note, but can you just tell us the URL of your website and where they can connect with you?
My website, I'm going to say it and then I'll spell it for you. Okay. It's KristyHorine.com. It's pretty simple. You have to do the www part at the front, but Kristy Horine is spelled KristyHorine.com. And there is a contact form on my website, and do send me an email. Just shoot something off and I'll respond. And then I am also on Instagram. Anyway, I am KristyHorine.com, and I am reinventing at this point in time.
Love it. Love
Yes.
it. Love it.
So we talk about pivot a lot, and that's where I am. So I feel like I'm rebuilding again. And if that's where you are, maybe you've been doing one thing for a really long time and God is trying to get your attention to do something else. Maybe it's for a season, maybe it's for a lifetime. Don't be afraid to follow his lead. So make that pivot. Join the club.
Yes, I love it. Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Kristy. It has been a pleasure. And thank you for listening to today's episode as well.
Thanks for having me, Daleen. I really appreciate it.
It's been a joy.